Oh, good evening. All right, we're recording. Good evening. Hi. Um, Welcome to the Asian American Resource Center Phase 2 Schematic Design Reveal. My name is Tony Vo, and I am the new manager here at the center. It's lovely to meet you all. Tonight, we are pleased to present to you the proposed design of the Performing Arts Center. This past September marks 9 years of the AARC, and in that time, the center has become a cultural cornerstone of Austin's Asian American experience, offering congregation space for cultural events, educational youth and adult programming, a culturally informed senior program, and a space for artists and creatives to hone their practice. And in that decade, the AARC has become a place for Asian Americans to build a sense of belonging, to heal, and to connect with each other. With over 50,000 annual visitors, the AARC is bursting at the seams. So tonight, the Phase 2 team will walk you through our expansion plan. The new phase features a dedicated art gallery, a multi-purpose room, a state-of-the-art performance theater. Our friends from Trahan Architects and our project team, including AARC staff, engaged in a months-long design process based on community needs and feedback. So there will be a presentation on the design, time for questions and answers, and then we welcome you all to move about the space to learn more about the proposed plans, the design process, and next steps. We also have display boards that speak to proposed additions and beautification plans for the rest of our campus, as well as our neighboring campus, the Rutherford campus. And I have with us today Andy Moore, who's in charge of that project over there, and he's happy to speak more about that. As always, your feedback is really important to us and to this process. So please take a moment tonight to share your reactions with us. I also want to take a moment to thank Laura Esparza, Division Manager for Museum and Cultural Programs. Yes, I thank you for your support, your guidance, and for your continued advocacy on this project. And Laura has graciously offered her expertise to talk to community folks about how to fundraise for Phase 2. And so she'll be on the back corner after the presentation to talk with folks. So thank you, Laura. And thank you to the entire Phase 2 team for your hard work. It's really been a pleasure to work with you in creating this beautiful space. And I really hope that y'all enjoy this presentation and what we've designed for y'all. Now, I would like to introduce Kevin Thomas from Trahan Architects, who will guide us through the presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. I usually talk with my hands, but I'm a little tied up tonight. I want to thank everybody for being here and your contributions to the success of this project to date. We've been working very hard with the entire community over the last 11 months. And what you'll see tonight is a culmination of all your input, stories, and thoughtfulness that have guided us so far. We want to do a couple of thank yous ourselves. We want to thank the Parks and Recreation Department. We want to thank Public Works. And of course, we want to thank the AARC staff for their endless hours and contribution to helping us find the right answers to the solutions we have. We've also assembled a world-class consulting team. A project of this significance requires the best of the best. And we have a world-class consulting team to help us along the way. So as we always do in a major events like this through the project, we step back and review the mission statement for the AARC. It's important for us to let these values guide us, make sure that we're staying true to the vision and values of the project. So we look at issues of diversity, solidarity, peace, collaboration, and intergenerational. One of the first assignments we did through the schematic design process was ask AARC staff for a number of images that would help us guide visual cues for the project. We asked a number of questions related to this. We asked for pictures of Asian influence, values of AARC, an architectural project, didn't need to be Asian in reference, but something that resonated well with them personally. And then something of local Texas, local Austin or Texas influence. What you see on the screen is a storyboard of those images that were collected. And we started grouping them into significant categories that helped us deliver design guidelines for the project. These design guidelines culminated in the following categories: grandeur, iconic, flow, transparency, Texasian, so an idea of interconnectedness, and harmony with nature. So then we took those design guidelines and started to apply them to the site. How do we organize the building to adapt to those design guidelines? First, we started with the distance between the two buildings, identifying a public plaza that would create a zone for events and outdoor activities that would be used throughout the year. And then we extend the plaza to a communal area around the building that people can use and navigate without having to enter the building. And then creating a market of cultural activity. There are three major public programs within the building: an art gallery, a multi-purpose room, and a theater. And it's about those three pieces, but also the spaces in between. So creating that market of cultural activity was important to activating the building. And then unifying it under one common element. So a strong canopy or porch, which is very part of the vernacular of Texas culture and also prominent in a lot of Asian cultures. And last but not least, a harmonization with nature. How do we bring indoors, outdoors? How do we blur the lines between those two worlds? So then we get into the overall site design. This is stepping back to a larger campus perspective. On the south side of the drawing, the bottom side of the drawing is the Rutherford campus. And then you can see the connection to phase 2 building on the top corner and its skewed relationship to phase 1. It creates a triangular plaza between the two buildings. It also sets up the future phase 3 project to the immediate south of phase 2. This is a view of this in 3 dimension. I'll just orient you on the plan. Cameron Road located on the right side, Clear Creek Drive on the left-hand side, phase 2 in the foreground, and the existing phase 1 building in the top right corner. We show a number of entrances coming off of the major streets, one coming off Cameron Road in its current configuration, and then 2 entrances off of Clear Creek Drive on the left-hand side of the drawing, also indicating the pedestrian bridge connection to Rutherford campus coming in the future. Ideas of the public plaza have been explored at how to activate this and actually reversing the condition where we put the performers out in the middle and protect the audience members from the elements of the Austin weather. So the large canopy that you'll see in the project is located on the left and creates a shaded protected zone from elements of the weather. And the performers take center stage nestled next to a symbolic tree that will be placed into the landscape. Ideas of terracing landscape that are referential to well-known Asian agricultural forms are used with native Texas grasses and fescue. And this sets up, the undulation comes from a need on the site to deal with a 20-foot grade change from one side to the next. So on this section drawing, you'll see the phase 1 building located on the right-hand side. And then as we deal with the undulation of the landscape, we lower the auditorium to the lowest level and keep the multi-purpose room and art gallery at the higher elevation next to the plaza. So this is a lower level plan. What you'll start to see is the organization of those 3 public programs organized around the market. What you see here on the right-hand side is the auditorium. It's sized for 350 people seated capacity, but also has the ability to be used in a flat floor configuration. And the seating can be retracted incrementally to create smaller audience sizes should the audience demand not be as great as needed. The floor also retracts to create a proscenium theater experience when we would use curtains to draw up a traditional stage arrangement. The public lobby is located on the north side of the building, and then a day-to-day reception and loading is located on the south side. A major north-south spine transverses from one side to the next, and this connects the landscape from one side of the campus to the other, but also as a major circulation route through the building. So on the first floor, this is level with the plaza adjacent to phase one. We see the other two major public programs in the building. On the top left is the multi-purpose room, so a traditional black box theater that would fit about 100 people seated with 2 sound and light locks. And then on the south side, on the bottom left side, is the art gallery, and with its associated supporting spaces with it, and a day-to-day reception located just on the side of that. So massing material, we keep coming back to the idea of fire and symbolism within Asian culture. The importance of that reference being home, a reference to home and inspiration through many Asian cultures, and also its influence within Texas culture about storytelling and bonfires and sitting around telling stories. So the cross-referential, the interconnectedness we talked about earlier finds itself rooted in fire as a major theme throughout the project. We also look at the culture of fire within food, obviously the big barbecue, and also within Asian culture, the idea of fire bringing people together, and also ideas of how fires works through agriculture and other major institutions in Texas. So we picked materials that are harnessed back to that idea. What you see on the screen on the left-hand side is a charred wood, known in Japanese culture as shoshugiban. It's a preserved way to treat wood, so it's resistant to insects and other ways of perishing. It actually inherently protects the wood through its burning properties. This is the first view we're going to show you. This is from Cameron Road. Phase one building is located on the right side of this image. This shows the stacked elevation of both floors. The black boxes you see represent those public program pieces we mentioned before. This is a view from the lower drop-off side from Clear Creek Drive. The stair on the right-hand side leads you up to the plaza, to the phase one building. And the lower lobby at this case would lead you into the theater, main theater lobby. The terrace above that is a wraparound porch that allow you to circumnavigate the entire perimeter of the building. This is a view of the plaza. So this is the moment between the two buildings, a moment of reprieve from the elements for the shaded structure, but also a moment to collect and to gather and to celebrate in an outdoor setting. Series of rock formations that are set up within the plaza would be opportunities for seating, and a grass knoll that would be used for seating as well. This is a view from the south side of the building. So looking back to Cameron Road, we've introduced a number of apertures on the south side elevation that will allow bamboo to grow within the building and to interweave with it, so nature becomes harmonious physically with it. From here, we're going to show you a video of the project to date. Yeah, just trying to find it.
have the first question about what do you deal with the moisture issue with burning wood surface? How do you deal with that?
It's actually inherently resistant to mold and mildew because it's charred. It's actually protected. The cells of the wood get so tight that moisture doesn't absorb into the wood structure. So it's actually beneficial and actually is better than most wood species because of that reason.
What kind of wood is that? Can you talk
It's-
about that a little bit?
Sure, we do have samples at the back table. We can show you later and we're happy to talk in more detail. Sure.
And you'll need to restate that. So since we're doing a hybrid meeting, we have people on Zoom as well. So we're going to try and restate the question as well. And then we may have some questions from people on Zoom as well.
Sure. So the first question was dealing with the Shoshugiban and dealing with moisture issues. The response to that question was Shoshugiban is actually resistant to moisture and mold because it's burned. The pores of the wood become so tight that it can't take on additional moisture. So it's mold resistant in that way. So it's actually very resistant. It's long-term and very durable as a material. If it's damaged, you retorch it and it comes back to place.
And we have
For those who understand Mandarin, that means 烧木板, 修木板. It's a direct translation of the Chinese language. 烧木板 is the bird, 木板 is a wood plate. Okay, that's from that.
one of the questions online is what's the finished material for the terraces, cladding or stone?
It's concrete currently shown. We do that because we have a column-free space. That's to create openings that are free and transparent, that there's no encumbered structure that gets in the way. So we use concrete to cantilever out the forms and create as much open volume as we can. I think the other question was, what type of wood was it? So Shoshugiban can be used with a number of different types of species. Akoya is what we're currently looking at. So it's a sustainable FSC certified wood that's locally sourced, so it's environmentally friendly.
Can you explain more, where do you use this sawmill one at the surface?
Where do we use it?
I saw some glass outside, brought the moisture going in, right?
Yep.
So it's not directly contact the outside moisture, correct?
So the question was, where do we use the Shoshugiban? The answer is we use it in both ways. So above the roof level, it is exposed to the exterior elements. It will age appropriately at the outdoors. And then on the interior side, it's all covered with the glazing. It is just an interior finish wrapping around the 3 public programs in the building, the auditorium, the art gallery, and the multi-purpose room.
The next question about the sample sawmill, but because my experience, that would turn some of the black charcoal powders.
Mhm.
If people scratch or something, how do you prevent that happening from happening?
Sure thing. So the question was, how do we prevent charcoal coming off from the burning effect? On the exterior side of Shoshugiban, which is out of touch from anyone touching it, it is untreated. It needs to be untreated to age gracefully with weather and not absorb any kind of residue. On the interior side, it's protected with an acrylic coating. So it's actually protected. And if it is damaged, you can remove that acrylic coating, retorch it, and reseal it again. So it's to the touch. You'll see the 2 samples we bought, one that's raw and you will get black on your hands. The other one you won't. And the one that you won't is the one we use on the interior finishing.
We have a question online. Will this building be green, meaning LEED?
We will be LEED silver. Yes, we are going through that process through the design exercise, and we will have a number of sustainability charrettes through the design process to make sure we're hitting LEED targets for the project.
Can you explain how big the plaza between the phase 1 building and the phase 2 building? How big the plaza was, the narrowest and the widest space?
Sure. So it is a triangulated form. So we are creating, that is intentional, that we create a minimum amount of distance between phase 1 and phase 2 for day-to-day operations. We want to make sure staff can get from one building to the next with relative ease. It does splay open. The width of that is about the width of this room. So you almost have an exterior ballroom condition between the 2 buildings.
what kind of material you use for the plaza?
We're still working through those details, but it will be a resistant material that we can drive on. Large vehicles, service vehicles could be placed on. So we are looking through that. We will review samples with staff and come with a design proposition in the next phase.
Is it possible you scroll back and show the floor plan and tell us how people go inside the building and they go to the auditorium, they go to the black box, they go to gallery? How the circulation for people to access those places?
Sure. So the question was to go through the floor plans and explain circulation routing through the building. What's shown on the screen is the level one, what we call level one. This is level with the plaza, the exterior plaza between the two buildings. On the north side of the building, you get the main public reception lobby that goes from one side of the building to the other side. We have two doors that lead onto the exterior porch on the north side. And then that leads you in to the multi-purpose room on the left, the upper balcony condition and control booth on the right for the auditorium, for the theater. And then the major north-south access between those two elements is the stair that takes you down to the lower level. It converges at the lower level where the washrooms are located. On the south side of this plan, you get the day-to-day reception. So there's a reception desk located just outside the art gallery. The art gallery is the box located on the lower left-hand side. The lower floor plan, this has a second entrance that would be located off of Clear Creek Drive, the secondary road interior of Clear Creek Drive. Again, there's a lower lobby that spans from one side of the building to the other. There are two doors located off an exterior courtyard that could be used to spill out space from the reception or from the lobby. So essentially expanding that room by doubling it on good weather days. And then you have two direct sound and light locks into the auditorium or theater on the right-hand side that lead you in. On the south side of that theater room, we have two sound and light locks also from the other side. Would save mostly be used for performer entrance, but could be reformed in the room to reconfigure for audience entry as well. Everything on the left-hand side is service oriented in the plan. So we have the main washroom culmination grouping on the top left, and then everything on the south is a series of dressing rooms and mechanical rooms that service the building and performers. Yes.
I saw a comment flashed up about whether you consider to glare on drivers on camera with the glass on glass.
We have a number of trees and vegetation that block the view. You can see in this view that that moment is rather fleeting, and you will have no direct car traffic looking, you will have no headlights at the glare. That's purposeful in how we've oriented the building, that you don't have that direct view. You will get great views out to Cameron Road, but the cars will not be facing directly into the glass.
Another question online, is there wheelchair access between the two buildings, and is it on the side not facing Cameron Road?
Absolutely. Accessibility was a big driver of design in the siting of the building. Located just in front of the phase one building, if you're seeing the image on the screen, there's a ramp that is a graceful 1 in 20, which is a very graceful approach on a wheelchair ramp. And then you can approach the new building flush. There is no ramping needed to get into the building.
You explain the pedestrian bridge from this side to the Rutherford side.
I would love to, but it's probably not my answer to answer. So I don't know if someone else wants to address that.
I saw the little arrow over there showing us.
We know it's coming. So we are in the overall site plan configuration. We just wanted to indicate that additional parking and access is through that route.
We did also have a question about what is the budget?
Another excellent question that I may ask someone else to.
The current project budget is $46 million. That includes everything. Permits, construction.
Want to repeat that?
$5 to $7 million for permit half. Okay.
So I'll repeat the answer for those at home. 46 million project budget,
Complete project.
complete project budget.
So that's anticipated cost, not what's actually in the budget right now. Right now it's,
Right now, we have an appropriation for $7 million.
yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. Thank
Right, that's correct.
That means we're short of 39 million,
That means we're short 46 million.
46 million.
Any further questions on that?
I'm asking.
Is there anything else? How much?
I like the design of the stair step on the outside. I think that's a nice feature. It's not square. It's more like a snake.
We have two of them. You have the one that you see in the foreground here, and then the other side of the building, we have another. So it was important that we had equal opportunity to get access up to the plaza from this lower level. So there's two stairs, in fact.
There's a comment about just how the two buildings relate to each other design-wise.
Yeah, from a scale perspective, it was important that we not overpower the phase one building, that we're complementary. I'll go to a different view that may explain that comment a little better. So here we were playing very much with the scale of the phase one building in terms of its low level and kind of overall sizing on the site. So something that was sympathetic in terms of that nature. And then also just keeping the datum as you come out the first phase building, making sure that that alignment as you come out, because you're elevated, is very much in line with what we're doing at phase two. So keeping very much in the same scale of what was done here previously.
But the materials are very different.
Materials are certainly different. Yeah. It's much more open. We have 100% glazing, so it's very transparent. It's about inviting that openness and nature to come in, and the interconnectedness of what's happening outside and inside. The phase one building has much smaller windows and it's a little more enclosed. Yeah.
That tree seems to be a nice feature of that, the plaza between the two. It really draws attention to it. And I think Schiller asked the size of the plaza.
Yeah. In totality, it's about as wide as this room at its widest. So it's a triangulated form.
Yeah.
At its widest angle, it is about the width of this room, and then narrows down to maybe 20 feet between the stair and the new building.
Very-
You can barely hear you.
Oh, sorry. The width of the plaza is about the width of this room.
Oh.
It narrows down to about 20 to 30 feet between the new building and the phase one building.
Kevin, on this picture, can you tell us when the wheelchair people go from the building one to the building two? It seems that the ramp on the right hand side can come down here, then cross the rocks, go to inside the building. Am I correct?
You can see the sidewalk on the very right side of this picture that leads off the page, and then it just comes around and ramps up at a very gentle slope to the phase one stairs, the existing phase one stairs. So you cross the plaza to get into the phase one building, but you are behind the rocks. The rocks are there to protect, separate pedestrians from vehicular access there.
We have a question as well. Will the current community garden be relocated, or is that yet to be decided? That might be a staff question.
We're not planning to.
Okay, the garden will not be relocated at this time.
Have another question about technical issue. I know the building like this definitely have some air-headed units. It's sitting somewhere. Are you gonna sit inside the building or outside on the roof?
They sit outside on the roof. I think I'm getting feedback from you. In this image, the taller of the black boxes in the back is where all the mechanical equipment sits in. So it's all concealed from view. It's very, we were very conscious of having a low building that you couldn't see mechanical equipment from any vantage point. Yes, sir.
So I've been listening to this on Zoom, and I think one of the first things, and I'm not that attached to this community center, but I do come to it quite a bit. And I think one of the features I think about, 5 or 6 things you were scoring on was sort of an iconic type of thing and connection, unity with campus. What on the design on this beautiful building and all says AARC, the Asian American Resource Center. Phase 1 says it. What on this design says it?
What about phase 1 to you says ARC?
Well, look at it. I mean, they use it for their icon, for the icon for the center.
Mhm.
So, okay, that's my feedback, gut reaction.
Any opportunity for some builders, get some money over here, get the name on.
Well, that's not a feature. Anyway, I mean, whoever designed it, you said that was one of your priorities. What am I missing?
Oh, well, I suppose that's what my question back to you was, what do you see in the phase 1 building that identifies as those values to you? I think what we've done,
The color, the roof, the different unique roofing, that's sort of the node, I don't know what exactly, the entrance there. Material.
we've picked material that is very reflective, as actually originates from Asian culture. The charred wood, the black wood is originating that facet. It's easy to see a lot of Asian architecture that blurs those lines between inside and out, and those connections of landscape and direct visual connection is important. And those things were explored.
Integration with the, previous campus. I'm just a civilian. Pedestrian, so beautiful building. It's very functional. I like that. I think you had a dedicated gallery.
There's an art gallery within it.
I saw
Yep.
the video. Very beautiful. Flexible theater auditorium. I mean, that's was on the priorities, and I'm missing it myself.
I appreciate that.
Well, and I just want to let you know that we will be around. And so I want to take this time, we're going to close off the presentation so we can let Zoom folks get back to their evening, but we'll be around and we can continue this conversation as well as others. And we're happy to do that. So thank you all for coming. We hope that those who are here in person, that you will stick around and talk with the team and visit the boards. And for those who are on Zoom, thank you for coming via Zoom, and all the information will be posted online that you'll be able to access. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.